Hello there, Leo. Welcome to your October 2023 reading. I'm Lou, and I'm so glad you're here with me. Let's begin the reading with Humpback Whale Record Keeper. Now this month we are in Libra season as we open up the month, and this Libra season is going to be an exaggerated season this year because we also have an eclipse there in Libra that happens on the 14th. It's a solar eclipse, and it is the first Libra eclipse in this eclipse cycle. So this eclipse cycle started in April with the Aries eclipse. So we're in this transition period between two eclipse cycles where we're ending the Scorpio-Taurus eclipse cycle, and we will have the very last Taurus eclipse at the end of the month. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we're transitioning into the Libra-Aries eclipse cycle, and that is started in April this year with the Aries lunar eclipse, and now we have its corresponding Libra solar eclipse on the 14th. So what that all means for you is now that the eclipses are moving into your 3rd house, 9th house axis, and so this new storyline is starting to emerge, and this month we'll start to see it. We'll get a taster of what's coming, and the height and crux of this eclipse cycle will happen next year in April. Okay, so we're just getting a little taste tester of what's happening. We're getting the emerging storyline here. So with the 3rd house being activated with this eclipse, we're looking at your conversations, your communications, the way you speak, the way you communicate, the way you think, your inner dialogue. So those are the kind of topics that will be coming up around this eclipse. Now with the humpback whale is symbolic of diving deep within to analyze emotions, right? So the water is the emotional component, and the humpback whale dives into the depths of the emotions, into the depths of the ocean. And so with this eclipse, obviously the moon representing our emotional needs, our emotional energy, and you are diving deeply into your emotional realm. So this is bringing the head and the heart together, because in the 3rd house, you're looking at how you think in correlation to how you feel. So you have this opportunity, and this has sort of been something you've been going through for a while, for the last few months really, is to look at your thought habits and your emotional habits, and how this influences your state of being, how this influences your vibration and your energy, and the energy you're admitting to the universe, the energy you are putting out there, and therefore what you're receiving back. Now, the other message behind the humpback whale is involved with your voice, okay? Because humpback whales communicate through song and through rhythmic tones, and so this represents your own pure, authentic voice, your pure, authentic song, the song that you are singing, and the way that you are communicating. So this literally could be about music and about your voice, but it also is about the stories you are telling about yourself and about your life to other people, to yourself, your inner dialogue, your thought dialogue. So this is about your narrative, and this month will be all about that narrative. Now, you've just come out of a very powerful and potent Venus retrograde in your 1st house. So that happened from July the 23rd until September 4th, and we've been in the post-retrograde shadow. Now, this month on October the 9th, Venus will move out of your sign and into Virgo, into your 2nd house. This is important because when a planet has done something significant like a retrograde, when it shifts over the cusp of that sign and into the next house, this is kind of when we start to see the physical manifestations. So that retrograde, and I've done a video on it, you can go and watch that. There's a lot of detail in there that would be really helpful for you, Leo, particularly because this is your 1st house. But that was really getting you to rewire and reassess and reestablish the way that you relate to yourself, the way that you speak to yourself, the way you think about yourself, the way you love yourself, the way you nurture yourself. So this is really like self-care overhaul was going on for you. And now, as it moves into your 2nd house, you can start to adapt that and apply it to your life in real time. And this new song that's coming up with the humpback whale, the new song that you are singing in regards to your own value, in regards to your own self-worth, your own self-image and how you speak to yourself, how kind you are to yourself, how loving you are towards yourself. Now you can project that out into the world, and you can start to make that a part of your dialogue, a part of your narrative, a part of your thought patterns. So this is like this ongoing process of building more value and more importance around yourself. That was easy. So you're coming into the reading as the moon. Perfect. So there's that solar eclipse being represented in the cards. You are very connected to the moon, but what that's telling me really is that this eclipse will be powerful for you. So some people feel eclipses, some people don't, and so this, I really do feel like for you, Leo, that this eclipse will be felt strongly by you. The moon represents our subconscious mind. So it represents this deep dive into our emotional realm, into our subconscious, which also means into our physical body, right? So we're diving deeply into the things that drive us, the things that we don't necessarily share with the world, the things that maybe we don't even really share with ourselves. So that can be coming up for you, Leo, at this time. So a lot may be bubbling to the surface around that eclipse on the 14th. Now, what I'm hearing for you is that it's important for you to let go of painful memories. Let go of the storylines and the narratives that you've told yourself over and over again for many years. So stop torturing yourself is what they want you to know. Stop torturing yourself with repeating memories. This record keeper, you're being the record keeper. You're keeping those records in your subconscious mind, in the depths of your psyche, in the moon, as emotional signatures as well. So every time you repeat a memory, every time you remember an event, that emotional signature rises to the surface. You literally feel it throughout your whole body. It's as if it's happening in real time, right? So our subconscious mind, which is where you're working with at this time, does not know the difference between real life and your imagination. So as you're remembering events, right, the subconscious mind thinks that you're really in those events in real time and starts to react and respond. So if you're remembering events that were distressing to you, that were traumatic to you, that were upsetting to you, you're releasing a chemical cascade in your physical body that matches that event. And that's how we continue to stress and continue anxiety and continue to strengthen the memory as well. So this eclipse may bring you an opportunity to actually transmute or transform some past memories that have been painful. And it's an opportunity to practice a new song, to practice a new storyline, to practice a new narrative. So if you have old memories that you often recite, you often tell other people, or this one time this happened to me, this one time it was like this, this person treated me this way, this is why I am this way, this is how I got to be this way. That kind of narrative that you repeat becomes your truth, becomes who you are, because the repetition of it trains the subconscious mind to keep responding and reacting like that. So you've had a really big crash course lesson in this recently, with the Venus retrograde in your first house, Mercury retrograde in your second house, now the eclipse is in your third house. This is a complete overhaul of the very personal parts of yourself. This is a complete overhaul of the person you are, the things you value, the way you think and speak, right? So this is a really hard time. If you're having a hard time with this, Leo, it's not surprising, okay? This is quite intense energy that you're dealing with. And so just looking at those narratives will really benefit you moving forward this month. With the moon coming up in the position of you, your energy is a very emotional month too. So there could be a lot of emotional things that come up for you. Remembering when we're dealing with emotions, it's really important to stay present, to not avoid, not detach, not distract, okay? They need our attention, they need our connection. And actually, when we stay present with the emotion, when we feel into the emotion, when we allow it to be expressed outwardly or within, okay, we actually give it that space, and it can do its job, and it can move on through, it can shift and change and evolve and be released. So by avoiding, distracting, detaching, that kind of stuff, this month is not going to serve you well, because it's going to remain trapped. It's going to continue this record keeping and you'll continue to have to process it over and over again until you allow it to be felt in its fullness. The universe needs you to trust. Ace of Wands. For some reason, I feel like this is about trust. The Ace of Wands is often about an inspiration or a spark of creative energy, a spark of creative life force. And that can be for you this need to tap into your creativity, to tap into your divine essence, okay, your life force energy. But I feel like the word that came to my mind when I saw that card was trust. Trust in the universal forces, trust in yourself, trusting in what's coming up for you, trusting in the inspirations, in the impulses, in the emotions. There's a need to really trust and lean into it is what I'm hearing for you, leaning into that, because that's going to help you with this creating a new storyline. So what I'm hearing for you is, as you're telling this new song, as you're feeling into this new narrative, this new storyline, you're needing to make yourself a centerpiece. You're needing to make this narrative about someone who is important. So you are making yourself the center of the story as an important and valuable person. You're really needing to start communicating, start speaking, and start thinking these new values, these new ideas, this new state of being that you have been creating, that has been evolving over the last few months with the Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, and now the eclipses. It is a new beginning for you. A solar eclipse always represents some sort of new energy, a new beginning. This could be the spark that you need to ignite a new situation, a new direction, something inspiring, something passionate, something very exciting for you. Okay, so there's this new, fresh energy, but there's also this depth of emotion that has to be navigated as well. And the environment is creating clarity for you, Ace of Swords. So again, there's another ace. With aces, it means that there is a newness, like I've already said, there's new energy there, but it's only a potential. And so when there's this potential, it needs to be nurtured. And the way that you nurture this new potential is by changing your dialogue, changing your storyline. So if you keep repeating the same stories over and over again and have the same emotional reaction, the same thought reaction, the same action reaction, okay, you continue to do the same thing, you're going to continue to experience the same experiences. Things don't change when we just keep repeating old patterns. So when we create newness, when we break into new directions, when there's potential, there's a strong potential for a brand new direction here for you, two aces, you need to be expressing yourself in a new way, expressing yourself in a new and feeling new emotions and saying new things that nurture the growth. See, with this Ace of Swords, this sword is coming out of a skull on this particular card, and so this is new growth coming out of old ways, dead ways. Things are dead, done, they're over, and now it's time to create new growth. Now the Ace of Swords is also about communication, about clarity, which I love that with the third house ruled by Mercury. It is the house of communication and clarity, so there could be conversations that come up for you this month, particularly around that eclipse, okay? Maybe some unexpected news, some unexpected conversations, some emotional conversations, okay, for you to navigate as well. But we'll get some more cards and get some more information. So we have the Seven of Wands and the Seven of Coins. 2 sevens and 2 aces. Now, sevens in the tarot represent challenges and obstacles, but these challenges and obstacles are something that come from within. They come from within ourselves. So the Seven of Wands can represent a challenge of needing to be aligned with your authentic self. Sometimes with the Seven of Wands, there are other people that bring this out of us. So there are other people that challenge us and challenge our views, challenge our perspective, and we need to be able to stand up for ourselves, or we feel attacked with the Seven of Wands and feel like we go into a defensive mode. So these may be the emotions that come up for you, Leo, this month. Some defensiveness may come up, and that may impact this new beginning, because what happens when we are feeling defensive is that our ego has been inflamed, right? Our ego has been ignited, and it is coming from an ego space. So there is no need to explain yourself to other people. There's no need for other people to be able to understand you in order for you to follow a new direction, in order for you to change, especially if you are really doing the work that Venus asked you to do and you have changed on a deep level. These deep changes, okay? If you are doing that work and you are changing, people in our lives tend to not like it when we change. They tend to keep reminding us of who we were in the past, okay? Because that's how they remember us. So they're the record keeper of our past, and when you engage with them, they treat you and they speak to you the same way that the last time they left you, okay? They're not caught up. They're not up to speed with your changes. And so the Seven of Wands is reminding you that even if you're encountering this, so it can be easy to lapse. For example, if you visit your parents and you regress back into childish behaviors because they treat you like a child. That was the dynamic that goes on in between you and your parents, and that's kind of just how it always has been. Okay, this is an indicator that this is a cycle that needs to be broken, and the way that you break it is Seven of Wands. You stay aligned with this new perspective. You stay authentic. You need to practice it. It requires a little bit of diligence, a little bit of consciousness, a little bit of awareness around it. Okay, practicing the new storyline, the new narrative, practicing your new song. Really, I like that image for you, Leo, of it being a song, like a melody within you, because that feels energized to me. That feels like movement through your body is what I'm visualizing when I say that. Is there's this like rhythmic movement through your body. Your song is being sung. It's ready to be sung out into the world. It's ready to be heard and experienced by other people. And people will love it, okay? And other people will hate it, because we all don't like the same types of music. Okay, so the people who like your melodies, who like your songs, who like that genre of music are going to love it. And that's what you need to stay, Seven of Wands, stay in alignment with, and ignore the people who don't like that genre of music. Okay? And the Seven of Coins is a reminder of where you're investing your energies. This investment of energy. So what are you nurturing? What are you investing your energy into? Where are you putting it? So where are you placing it? Again, we can bring that back to the narratives. The narratives we tell, the stories we tell, the things we repeat to people. And this can be really subtle. It may be things that you're not even really aware of, you're not even conscious of. But as you start to listen to yourself, as you start to be a bit more aware of the things you talk about when you're having coffees with your friends, what is the tone of the conversation? What is the general messages behind the conversation? What are the things you repeat every time? What are is there any key phrases you repeat? Is there any stories you always talk about? Do you always talk about the same topics? Those kinds of things. Being aware of that, that's where you're investing your energy. Okay, that is your energy, and that's an investment of energy. Now with the Seven of Wands here with these two aces, obviously the cards are requesting, they're requiring, they're asking you to invest your energy into something new. So there's new situation that's coming up, and you have the opportunity, you have the possibility, the choice is yours to invest energy into that. It requires diligence, like I said. It requires a bit of conscious awareness. It requires you to be deliberate with your words, with your thoughts, and with your actions. The World. I love that with the two aces, this culmination. There's a culmination part of your life. Things are changing, things are shifting. You're moving into a new space. We have the King of Swords on the bottom of the deck. There's that Libra energy. Libra being the season that we're in, so this Libra energy is very important to you this month, and it could be that somebody with Libra qualities comes into your life, somebody who's highly intelligent, who's fair, who's honest, who has a really strong mind, very logical, very rational, okay? may be involved in this situation, may be involved in what happens with you this month. Alternatively, this is about your mindset. And with the 9th house, 3rd house axis lit up like this, the mindset is important, okay? It is important to look at your mindset this month and to consider that as you are moving forward, because as we start to engage in new narratives, as we start to practice new stories and new narratives, the more we practice it, the more it becomes a habit, the more it becomes our mindset. It becomes our beliefs. We start to actually embody those beliefs, embody those storylines, those narratives, and eventually it becomes automatic and we don't even have to think about it. So this is this time to adjust your mindset this month. And with the world, you're stepping out of a cycle. So this is the end of an era type energy, the end of something. And like I said at the beginning, with letting go of painful memories, these painful memories you may have been holding on to those memories, repeating those memories, remembering those memories for a long time. And so it might feel strange to let those go. It might feel odd to not repeat them. And it might be like, who am I without those memories? If they've become a part of your identity, which is very possible when we're looking at the astrology here, this is about your identity. This is about shifting your identity, shifting who you are, 7 of Wands, really. And so this is like a turning over of a new cycle with the world, okay? This new chapter of your life coming in, and the end of that chapter is ending. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to avoid it, you don't have to distract yourself from it, okay? It's literally being put to bed. It's like a chapter in a book. It's ending and the next chapter is beginning, and it's still a part of the story, but it doesn't impact the story anymore. Okay, so the environment is mirroring to you Spirit of the Earth, turquoise. So multiple things are coming up to me through this card, and what the first thing I want to say is there's this images of the earth there, the world, okay, and it's coming out with this world card. So there's this chapter, like I said, this turning over of a new leaf, this new chapter coming in. It's like, and also with that eclipse, the eclipses are literally the sun, the moon, and the earth, the world lining up, being in a line. So this eclipse is really mirroring this new chapter. So your environment will show you, as you're looking around at the events that happened this month, Leo, you'll see how in or out of alignment you are with that eclipse and with this new chapter coming in. So if you're in resistance, if you're really struggling this month, it's an indicator that you're resisting the new, you're resisting the freshness, you're resisting letting go. And that was one of the messages that came up for me, was about letting go of old painful memories. Stop torturing yourself with these old painful memories and tell a new story. And that's your overall message for this month. And so any pain or any discomfort that you experience will be a resistance to that letting go. Now, the other thing that this card is talking to me about is that we do have on the 29th of October as well, we have the final lunar eclipse in Taurus. So this is going to close out the Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle that we've had since 2021. Okay, and so this is going to be this final little burst of energy to do with your career. This is in your 10th house. It can be your career or your family if you're a stay-at-home. Okay, so this meaningful life work, what you dedicate yourself to, what you are, how you are recognized, who you're recognized being, what meaning you give back to the world. Okay, this is what it's looking at. And there's the final ending in that cycle coming out, and this is what's mirroring the environment is mirroring to you is how in or out of alignment you are with that. So looking at the eclipses, which means looking at your emotions, the moon, the humpback whale, looking at how you feel. You're going to really need to feel your way through this month, Leo. You're going to have to feel into any resistance that comes up, any defensiveness that comes up, or any stubbornness that's stopping you from moving forward. Earth energy is very grounding, but it's also very fixed and stubborn. So it's talking about looking at those kinds of things that come up for you this month, and that will be reflected back. So the experiences that you engage in will show you that. Now I'm going to pull 2 surrender cards this month because of the eclipses. The eclipses will require us to surrender quite a lot. So we're doing 2 this month. So surrender unhealthy relationships, letting go of relationships that don't serve you, including unavailable or toxic people. You deserve to be treasured by others and to be surrounded by positive people. And surrender denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. So these kind of go hand in hand. You need to be able to see people for exactly how they are to be able to surrender their unhealthy energy, right? Any toxic people, you need to be able to see that they're being toxic to you. They're toxic in your life, or that there's just not a good match to you. You need to be honest and truthful about that, right? And about situations. So if there is this resistance coming up, resistance to the world turning over, resistance to the new chapter, maybe you're in denial a little bit about the situation you're in. Maybe there is a little bit of thinking that things are going well in a situation when they're actually not serving you. And that's where the emotions come in, because your emotions will always tell you the truth. But our minds can lie to us. Our minds can convince us of all sorts of different stories. But when you really feel into it, when you really sit with the emotions, really go into the emotions, then you start to feel, okay, this actually doesn't feel good to me. This doesn't feel right to me. There's something going on here, okay? So surrendering that denial. Now, surrendering unhealthy relationships, it may be people within your immediate environment. When the 3rd house is activated, it looks at siblings, it looks at close friends within, people like neighbors, people who you interact with on a daily basis. But I feel like this is sort of past relationships with that strong message of releasing painful memories. I feel like for you, Leo, this is talking about people that you've had relationships with in the past that may be over now but are still with you in your memories. You're still carrying those relationships forwards through talking about them, thinking about them, interacting with them on a spiritual, psychic level. Okay, so those are the kinds of relationships that need to be surrendered, they need to be let go of, and they are toxic. That's why you're continually, almost obsessively thinking about them, because of the toxicity. That toxicity can be quite addictive. Okay, so it's anyone that you feel like that addictive drive towards, they're the people that need to be surrendered, let go of, released. And part of that is this honoring of self. That's how we do this. So that the Venus in the 1st house, again, go and watch that video. It's important this month, Leo. That Venus in the 1st house was inspiring you, was encouraging you to love yourself properly and to value yourself and care for yourself, to have self-esteem, have self-respect, have self-honor. And so when we step into that space of really honoring ourselves, then we have to look at our boundaries, where we're putting our boundaries up and how we're letting other people treat us. And other people treat us the way that we allow them to. Whatever we will tolerate is what we will receive from other people, okay? So when you step into a more self-value, self-worth, and you step into that fully and you start to embody that as you will, with Venus moving into Virgo on the 9th, then these toxic relationships must sort of shift. They have to either leave your experience, or these people have to shift the way they treat you, the way that they interact with you, because they cannot match you anymore. Okay, so the way that you surrender unhealthy relationships, yes, some of you may need to actually cut ties and actually physically have those conversations, or do something physical to remove yourself from a situation. But I think most Leos are really looking at the psychic, energetic connection, and that you do that through valuing yourself, valuing your thoughts, caring about what you think, and caring about how you feel, and caring about yourself enough to not allow this to be a part of your life anymore. And trust in divine order. You are being helped. Yes, so when that Ace of Wands came out, I felt like there was this trust thing coming up. So that here it is again, this theme around trust. Trusting in the divine really is what this is about. Maybe a little bit of trusting in yourself, but I think you've already been building that trust in yourself. And now it's really trusting in something bigger than yourself to be looking after you as well. So there may be ties that need to be cut. There may be things that with this world turning over, with this turquoise card, maybe something needs to be released and let go of in your physical space. A situation, or a person that needs to be let go of. And it's scary because these aces are only potentials at this point. And so there's this need to trust that new growth will come if you make the space for it. Okay, Leo, that is your October reading. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. That really helps me. And yeah, I love doing these readings for you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next month. Take care.